This conference will now be recorded.
And I will hand it off to Mike.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks everybody for signing up. Really appreciate it. We've had very good attendance in the ones I've done in the past. From what I understand, that Mr. Bringham's going to okay the virtual schools for at least till the national convention and possibly a little bit longer. Looking through the sign-up sheet, I see there's some 2-digit, some 3-digit, 4-digit, and very low 5-digit numbers. A number of 400 level judges, so I'm sure that you're not signing up for this for your judging points. And I'd just like to know what everybody thinks of these, and if they want me to keep doing them, if they would either drop me an email or give me a phone number or call me on my phone and let me know if you want me to keep doing these. We'll continue even after he stops letting us award judging points for him if everybody's interested. With that, we'll get started in the C1s. Doing this on behalf of the Heart of Ohio and the Indiana chapter. 55 through 53. There's a lot of questions on what actually come with these cars. Until 61, there's nothing in the AIMs of what the factory actually put in the cars. So some of this, I've bothered a lot of people asking questions on this particular subject, and I want to thank everybody who's contributed to it, which there's been a lot. And from what I understand, 53 was something close to what this looks like here. I believe this is a reprint from the actual owner's manual of 53. 54, they changed it to this. 54 and 55 was both like this. 55 had an insert in it a little bit later. I'll show you that. There's a original up to the top and a reproduction on the bottom. You can see there's a little bit difference in the lettering. The Corvette's white on the original one. That reproduction there has got black lettering on it. So there is minor changes. Coloring's a lot different. Here's the inside pages of the first part of the 60 or the 54 book here. You can see this is an original one. It's pretty tattered and torn. There's kind of a comparison between the original and the reproduction page there. The original one's at the top, the reproduction's at the bottom. A little bit of difference in the inside also. The next to last page in the 54s, you can see it's talking about the manufacturer warranty, and then it gets over here to the tire and battery warranty, and it says that your dealer should be able to help you register your tire and battery because GM does not warranty that. And it says that like the tires, you've got to warranty it through the tire manufacturer, and the battery the same way, which I don't understand because Delco made the battery and you'd think that would be through the GM dealer. But so obviously the tire and the battery warranty cards was not put in the car at the factory. It was put in later at the dealership. Here's the last page, just going over kind of the service policies, what they cover, what they didn't cover, where you can get it checked at, and so forth. Also, I believe there was a radio operating instruction page delivered with these cars. Like I said before, there's really nothing in the AIM telling you what was in them and what wasn't. From everybody I've talked to, they believe this was in the cars. Also, there was a break-in sheet like this. It was used up through 60. There's the inside of it. It's got a part number on it right from GM. There was also, this could have been in the glove box compartment or container with the stuff. It was supposed to be put on the lighter. This was in the early cars. I don't know when they quit doing this. I do know it was in the early C3s. Just kind of told about how the lighter worked and so forth. Here's the insert that was put in the 55. It was just a card printed up and stapled in talking about the V8 engines. Other than that, it's just identical to the 54s. You can kind of see here if you wanted more information on your V8, new V8 engine, you could get a hold of the Chevrolet Central office and they would get with you, I guess, with some more information on the motor. 1956, this was the first owner's manual that was put in the 56s. There was 2 different versions put in. This is the first page. You can see the part number down in the lower right-hand corner. Date, the lower left-hand corner. This was the second version. Somewhere around VIN 2600, they changed in the 56s to a different cover there. I don't know what was changed inside, other than you can see it says the part number with the second edition. This is supposedly owner's service policy. Was GSD 13 was the form number. This particular one I know is a reproduction because later on here I've got a picture of an original one from an original one owner car that show the difference in them, but this is kind of what they looked like to start with. Also, they had the break-in sheet in these cars here too, like I said, up to 60. Here's supposedly what the battery service policy looked like. I'm sure this is a reproduction also. I really could not find an original of these. I looked and looked, but never did find one. Here's kind of the inside of the radio instruction sheet. You can see it's got a part number down at the bottom corner. This was used 56, 57s for sure. Get into the 57. Basically, it was kind of the same cover as the 56, only had 57 on it. It's the same part number. There was 2 different versions in 57, and a 4th edition, which kind of tells you basically the same manual as in the 56s. First version was used up to about 3200, and after 3200 was supposedly around the 4th edition come out. The 3rd edition, supposedly they added this, stapled this sheet to the inside of the front cover, covering the spark plugs for the fuel injected cars, because evidently they were fouling them out pretty bad in the city driving, so they revised what they had listed, and then when the 4th edition come out, from what I understand, this page was added in the manual itself rather than being stapled in like this. There's the back cover of the 56, 57 manuals. Also in 56, 57, they had a sheet on the electric clocks. It was only a 2-page sheet. Later on, you'll see the 58, the sheet or the paper changed it, folded 3 different ways. Just kind of tells about the clock, how to use it, so forth. I'm not real sure if they had anything like this in the 53s through 55s. I never really found anything on them about this. Also in 57, they added the acrylic lacquer. This, I'm sure, is a reproduction piece here. But this was added to kind of help take care of the lacquer paint. I guess I'd like now to take a little pause here, and if anybody's got anything they can add, or they know anything that I've left out here or would like to add anything, feel free to speak up right now, and before we get any farther, we'll go through what we've covered here. If you got any comments, please unmute yourself and let me know.
Tom Dingman here.
Yeah, Tom.
There was a mailing label on like your third slide. You compared the reproduction with an original, and the original had a name and address. Was that put on by GM or?
I don't think so. I know what you're talking about. That was from a car. It's a 2-owner 54. It's a bow tie car, and that was with that was on the sheet when he got it. So I don't know whether GM put that on there or for sure how it was done. That's the only one I've ever seen where it had a name like that on it.
There's some discussion online about the original owners and of 53s. What year is this? 54?
This is a 54, yes.
Okay, never mind. Thank you.
Is there any other comments? Okay, we'll move on here to the 58s now. 58 manual, front and back cover of them. There was a first and second edition of them also. I really wished I could get in and find what the differences was, but some of these I've looked at and I can't really find a difference. If anybody knows the difference, please speak up and let me know. Here's the sheet on the clock on the 58s. Like I said, it was a 3 fold out. This particular one I'm sure is a reproduction, but I believe this one right here was an original from what I could find. As you can see, it's a little more expanded than what it was in the 56, 57s, has a little more information. Right here is the owner service policy, and this was out of a 1-owner 58. I am very sure that this was probably an original piece. And if you look at the differences, you can kind of see that the reproductions don't have the Chevrolet bow tie emblem and the wording across the top like this original one here does. Other than that, it seems pretty close. There is a couple other things down, if you look down through there, that's just a little different, but I thought that was kind of interesting to basically find that original piece like that in that good a condition. Excuse me. Going to the 59s. Here's the 59 manual, the parts numbers down below that was associated with that. Inside cover of the first page. You can see there's a first and a second edition to this. This one still has part in there where you tear out and send in for your subscription to Corvette News. The rear cover, the 59s. '59 owners protection policy. This is the first style, kind of a dull colored. You can see the part number on the back. I think this was pretty much used throughout all of the Chevrolet cars. It wasn't just a Corvette item only. This is the second style used, a little more colorful than the first style. The inside pages, you can kind of see here's the back and start of the service pages in here. It's got what you should do, or take it to the service, to the dealership for your service, and it tells you when miles or what miles you should take it in on and get it checked out and signed off. $60. This is what I found, the glove box content in the $60. Basically, it's got the little sheet for the clocks, and it's got your owner protection plan, which is a little different than the last one, and your radio sheet. There's a close-up of the owner's manual with the part number down there. It should be associated with it. Inside, you got a first and a second edition of this one also. I really don't know if there was changes in it, or they just, the second printing was a little later on in the year when they needed more of them, or what for sure was the difference in the first and second editions. Somebody can help me out with that, please speak up. Rear cover. The owner protection policy, you can see the cover and the rear cover. Part number is down in the lower left-hand corner here. (1961). First edition. Second edition. Again, we had 2 editions of it. The cover. Starting at 61, they start putting in the AIMs of what all they put in at the factory. So you got a little more of an idea of what should be in here. See the owner's protection policy and the part number down here in the corner again. I don't know, I found these 2 different covers here, and I'm not real sure what the difference is or why they the covers are different colors for sure. If somebody can help me out with that, I'd appreciate it also. In 1960, 5/20 of 60, they started putting this information in this envelope, and the first envelope with the policy on it was dated 5/20 of 60, so it was probably put in mid-60 range. Later on, you'll see they changed the outer cover from policy to plan. 1962, glove box content, what I found here. You can see the clock, and I did find this BF Goodrich tire policy here, which that's the oldest one I could find on a policy as far as covering the tires. Couldn't find anything for US Royal or for the Firestones as far as that goes. This is the only one I could find in the very early cars. 62 owner's manual cover. First edition, the part number in the lower right hand corner inside the page. There's a second edition with the part number. This also still has half the sheet for the Corvette news lineup. We have a third edition in the 62 also. The owner's protection booklet. And here you can see it says plan instead of policy on this one. And this one's dated 11/23 of 60. So the policy one was not in service that long if it was like 520 of 60. So it was only used for like 6 months, and then they changed it to this plan. Don't know why, just what I found out.
Hey,
See
Mike?
the difference? Yeah, go ahead.
So did they put all of that into the plastic envelope, right? Looks like there's a book inside this owner's protection plan envelope, and then that all went into the plastic envelope as well?
From what I understand, they put all the glove box contents in these folders at this point. Not the owner's protection plan, and the owner's manual, I think, was also in a lot of these.
Okay, thank you.
There's the backside. You can see the difference in the date. You can see the 11/23/60 here, and you can see the 5/20/60 here. Second, they had a couple different versions of this. The first version, the lettering was black. If we go back here, I'll show you. You can see the lettering is black on this one. We go up to the second version, and you can see it's white. And then there's a close-up of the BF Goodrich tire warranty paper. I found these. I'm not quite sure when they were used or what they were used for, but I run across them in a couple different places. I think the one to the right was used later on. I'm not sure about the one to the left where it even was used for. Some of the stuff I run across in my research. Also ran across this on the care of the chrome of your vehicle. I don't know if this was ever put in any of the Corvettes. I did find one kind of an original car that had this with its stuff. It's about all I can tell you on that. There's nothing in the AIMs on this ever being in there, but if it was before 61, I wouldn't have known anyway. And I also found this little card, not sure when this was used or whatever. Just some other tidbits pieces here that I have found. From what I understand, these two items was owner protection plans for Canadian cars. I just ran across these here very recently, and I really didn't have a whole lot of chance to do a lot of research on them. Maybe if Dan's on here, maybe he can kind of jump in here and see if he's ever seen any of these. Or anybody from Canada, as far as that goes, if you've ever seen these.
I'm here. The ones you're showing now, I've never seen before.
Okay. I just ran across these actually last night real late, and it said they were from a Canadian car. So I don't know whether they were just in the big full-size cars, or I imagine all the other owner protection plans was pretty much used throughout the whole thing. So I don't know.
Mike, I have that lower 63 from a Biscayne I have.
You've got the lower one, you say?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
But
So
it was from a full-size Chevrolet.
Okay, so it was used just in the full-size cars, not in the Corvettes?
I carry it in the Corvette, but we'll dispute that.
Okay. Well, I don't know. That's why I just ran across these, and I know later on the owner protection plan changed. They had a different plan for the Canadian cars than the U.S. cars, and so I didn't know whether they changed, the whole board across like they did. But I just, wanted to throw these out there for discussion, I guess.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
When you run into those again, you should look particularly on the back for a very small print that would say printed in Canada. if you're
Okay.
trying to verify it was Canadian.
Okay. All right. Well, is there any more discussion before we go into the C2s?
Yeah, Mike, there was a chat question. Some of these documents you're showing, say first, second, third editions, is there any information that says approximately the time of year or the VIN number when they changed editions?
The later ones, I could not find any distinctive VINs. The earlier ones, when I discussed them, I kind of put down what I found. The later ones, I really didn't find a distinctive area of when they changed.
Okay. And then a question I had, on the owner's manuals or some of the other contents, a lot of times it's obvious if you're dealing with a reproduction just because it has no age to it. But beyond that, if it's a reproduction document or manual, would it always say reprinted or reproduction or not necessarily?
Most of them do. I can't say all of them, but most of the ones I've seen have a reproduction label on it somewhere in the book. As far as that goes, has anybody else got any comment on that?
Yeah, I do. The earlier ones, reproductions, did not. So you couldn't differentiate other than looking at the quality of the printing inside. The common thing to look for was that how clear the tread was on a tire.
Okay. Anything else?
There
Okay.
was one comment on slide 78. The person indicated that the serial numbers would indicate they were not for Corvettes.
Okay.
But I don't know if they can expand on that or not.
I don't know whether that serial number he's talking about right here, I don't know whether that was for the car or just for that sheet or what, but
Right.
yeah, like I said, I just ran across these last night and I really didn't have a whole lot of time to do any more investigation, so I thought I'd throw them out here and see what kind of comments we got.
Mike, that serial number does correspond with the vehicle.
That does?
It does,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. So that would be too high for any Corvettes then. Okay, we'll move on to the C2s now. 63 owner's manual. There's a couple versions of this. The coloring was a little different on the versions. I had you can see the left first edition and left right's the second edition. And I don't exactly know when. There's kind of a comparison between an original and a reproduction here. The owner's protection plan, 63, they had a couple different versions. The first version was kind of a yellow pale colored cover. Second version was more of a coral color, what they called it. See the two of them there. In 63, they still use the paper folder to start with, but later on, I'm not sure what VIN number, around what VIN number they changed, but they went to the plastic envelope to put the contents in. You can see it has the Chevrolet bow tie with the two circles up around. Later on, they changed this, later versions. 63, the AM radio sheet, because later in 63, they come out with the AM FM, so we got a different sheet then. You got two different versions here, a 755 and a 755 revised Ace. The inside pages of them, you can see the 755 here and the 755 revised Ace on the two different sheets there. When the AM FM come out, you had two different versions of that in 63, the 127 and the 857. You can see the part numbers down here at the bottom. Also, 63, we started with the air conditioning. You had a insert in the owner's manual, I believe, and you had a sticker that was put on the glove box door, if I remember right. Can anybody help me out on that? Is that correct? You had both of them or just one or the other? Here's an original sticker versus a reproduction, and you can see the date is wrong on the reproduction. Actually, the lettering and everything else is a little different. But that's a comparison between an original sticker and a reproduction sticker there. And if you got the heavy duty brake system, you also got a sheet, and I could not find an original. This is a reproduction sheet on the air scoops installation of the air scoops that also come with the 63s. Is there anything else anybody would like to add on the 63s, or any questions or anything we can go over here before we go any farther? Okay.
Hey, Mike,
Yeah.
sorry. Relative to the, there was a radio knob tag that was included. Was that also included or would be in the glove box as well? Or I believe it was delivered on the knob of the radio, but.
The which now?
So there's a tag, right, that goes behind the knob on the radio?
Oh, for the antenna?
Maybe, I don't know. I just know that there's a tag.
Yeah, it was about the reception, about the 25 miles and so forth. There was like two different tags on that. They were supposedly fastened to the radio knobs. I don't know. I don't remember whether I don't think I put any of these in here. They were, yeah, a card that was fastened to the knobs. It really wasn't in the glove box thing or in the glove box contents itself. It was put on the radio knob, from what I understand.
Okay, thanks for clarifying.
Okay, we'll go into the 64s. 64 manual. 64 owner's protection plan. And the radio sheet. It's the 857 used in the latter part of 63, the same in 64. Also, in 64, you got a pocket radio guide. And it said 64 on it. if you got the aluminum wheels in 64, you got a sheet that was put in there to the maintenance and tightening and so forth of the wheels, how to put them on, make sure you get them on right. Part number in the lower right hand corner you can see. The reproductions are usually a little different size. They got some different lettering is a lot different in the reproductions than it is in original. You can see some of the things that I've highlighted there that's different. Yeah, go ahead.
Relative to, as you're judging these particular items, what kind of deduction would you expect for reproduction component versus original?
That's kind of a hard one because usually there's so many items on the line and there's not that many points there. So in a lot of cases, it's really hard to make a point deduction because of the minor differences. But you at least ought to note it if you don't make a deduction. I guess it kind of depends on how much you feel it differentiates or it's different from the original to the reproduction, how many items is different, or, you know, like I said, there's so many items along associated with them points that it's kind of hard to really say that, you know, you're going to take a point for just that little piece or whatever. Has anybody else got any comments on that?
Yeah, I thought glove box items were no longer judged because of the proliferation of reproductions.
Okay, I thought they were.
Well, then that may be, maybe it's more specific to things like POPs.
I know the protective plates aren't judged anymore because there was so many reproductions of that. But if you really know what you're looking for on them, you can tell them about as easy as you can a VIN tag or a trim tag or that. I mean, there is distinctive items in them that distinguish the reproductions from the originals, but you know, that's that. But I do know they don't do the protective plates anymore because of that. But I thought they still judged most of the glove box content, the paperwork anyway. Anybody else?
Thanks.
Okay. Here you can kind of see some of the difference between an original and a reproduction. You can kind of see the E right here. This is kind of hard to detect, but you can kind of see some of the lettering is different. I found this in a 64 car, so I'm not sure if that was actually put into Corvettes or where it was, but this was in a folder of a 64 that I found. So has anybody got any comment on this?
Hey, Mike, there's a comment, not to this slide, but a previous slide when you were showing the aluminum wheel information for the 64. The question was, is that information also included on the underside of the board that goes above the jack?
Not that particular card. There is, it's a different sticker on the underside of the board as far as how to change the wheels and how to tighten them and so forth. It's the whole different jacking instruction label rather than just that card that's fastened to the underside of the board.
Okay.
Okay, we'll move on to 65. Owner's manual in the 65. So you got a first and a second edition in that. Now I'm going to open up a big can of worms here probably, but here's the back cover of the 65 owner's manual. The protective plate, or they started to protective plates in 65. This is the owner protection plan with a protective plate in it. Here's actually the protective plate that comes in them. Each year, the amount of information and the location of the information changed on these protective plates. I had done just a whole program on protective plates from 65 to 72 for a local chapter, and I've got a whole issue on that, how to decode the VIN numbers and everything, but we'll stop at that. The radio sheet that come with the 65 was a different part number than what 63, 64s were. It was used from 65 through 67. It was a 985 part number. You also got a pocket guide. You can see a reproduction versus an original there. The darker color on the reproduction than the original. It also had 65 year inside it. In 65 also, before we get out of there, they had what they called supposedly it was known as kind of a 396 insert that was added into the owner's manuals, that it also covered the fully synchronized 3-speed, the turbo hydromatic transmission, and the 396 engine. And from what I understand, it was put in pretty much at the start of 65, which the 396 engine did not come in until later on. So at the beginning of 65, the fully synchronized 3-speed was supposed to be an option for the Corvette. But looking at the AIM, it was canceled very early. And from what I've researched, the reason it was canceled was it was for a stick shift, a column shift car only, because it did not have the bosses on the back housing of the transmission to mount the shifter to, like the Corvettes needed. In 66, it became an option because it was used in 66 Corvettes because they put the bracket on the cross member to mount the shifter rather than on the rear tail housing of the transmission. So I'm thinking this supposedly 396 insert page was kind of put in there for the 3-speed transmission because it was supposedly at the start of 65, but then when it got canceled, they just left this insert in there for the 396 motor, which come in later on. Has anybody got any comments on that? I guess I forgot to put, I had a couple pictures of that insert page and I forgot to put it in here, I guess. I'm slipping my old age.
Hey, Mike,
Yes.
was that the first C2 3-speed year?
No. You're going to get into a big ball of wax here now, or big can of worms.
Never mind.
The fully synchronized 3-speed was first introduced in 65, or supposedly was going to be introduced in 65 for the Corvettes, but it really wasn't used till 66. Before that, it was just the lower gears was synchronized. The top two was not synchronized, from what I understand.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, 66. Kind of a small preview of some of the glove box content there and used in 66. The owner's manual. You can see a first edition there and a second edition. You can see this one still got part of the page for the Corvette news. Most reproductions did not have that sheet in there. Kind of see some of the difference in the pages between the original and some of the reproductions. The 66, they started out with just the plastic envelope with the bow tie and the two circles. Late 66, they added the key at the bottom of it. The owner's protection plan, again, the protective plate was added in the book itself. And if you got a car delivered in Canada, Dan sent me this. This was a Canadian owner's protection plan booklet, and instead of the protection plate being a metal plate like it was used in the United States, it was a plastic, like a credit card type plate, I guess. Is that right, Dan?
Yes, that's right.
Now, did they have this plastic plate in 65 also, or was it just started in 66? You know?
I haven't seen a 65.
Okay. We do know this was in 66 though.
Yes, that's from a 66 Corvette.
Also in 66, they come out with the shoulder harness, and there was a sheet in the owner's manual, from what I understand, added into the owner's manual for the shoulder harness, if that was an option in the car. This is a reproduction. I could not find an original anywhere. If somebody's got an original, I sure would like a copy or a picture of it. And I don't know if they used these before 66. This was the earliest I could find that a key card or a key envelope was in the car, in with the glove box stuff. Does anybody know if it was used before 66?
Mike, those key numbers, though, are not correct for 66.
Okay.
Yeah, the key numbers are unique for different years.
Okay. I don't remember where I got this. I found this one somewhere, but I know the earlier picture here had it labeled, or had that with it. So that evidently is not the right right envelope for the 66 car. Then somebody's added that in there then.
Yeah, those, the N and the R, that I don't know what year it is, but it's not 67 or earlier. It's later than 67.
Okay. Okay. So that would be more like a 68, because in 69 they changed to the oval and the square key.
Yeah, I could check my code books and see what year N and R are for, but I don't know it off the top of my head.
Okay. Do you know what letters was for 66?
Well, 66 and earlier were between 8,000 and 9499. That went back to 1935.
Okay.
I guess someone just put that in there for the glove box contents for judging, so it's complete.
Evidently, they must have.
So
It's hard
Mike,
to find. It's hard to find original cars with original stuff, and sometimes I've got to go with what I can find. So a lot of times it may not be quite all correct.
So Mike, for 66 keys, those are the Briggs and Stratton, right? The B10s and the B15 style keys. And then later, obviously in 68, the square and the ovals came in.
The square and the ovals didn't start until 69.
Right, that was in '69s when when they changed the.
Thanks for correcting.
Until then, they used the octagon and kind of a round key later on. I don't remember when the round key come in, but I know the octagon was used quite back earlier, you know. Anything else before we move on?
About when did the don't protect the key appear on the plastic in 1966? The don't prevent car theft?
The this here.
Yes, sir.
It was later in '66. I really don't have a VIN number, but it was toward the later part of '66. I don't remember. I was thinking an envelopes had some dates on them, but I can't see them right offhand. I know there's a date on this one down here in the corner, but I'm thinking there's a date here, but I don't really know what it was right offhand. Because anybody got any dates from when they changed them or what might be on them?
The judging guide says both may be found after March 66.
After March '66?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
And Mike, those the key numbers that were on that key envelope are correct for 68 only.
Okay. Okay. So I can use that back in my '68 in the next month's program.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Anything else? We'll get in before we get into '67s. Kind of an overview of the glove box content in the '67. Owner's manual. A first and a second edition. I'm not sure when they changed on these either. Maybe Nick will chime in and let us know what he knows on this. Here's an owner protection plan booklet for '67. Protection plan, the POP plate in there. You can see there's more information up to the top on the '67 than there was in the '65. A lot of different location. '67, we started with the rally wheels, so you got a trim ring instruction sheet with it. You can see the part number in the lower right-hand corner. The date in the middle, and this pretty much went clear through the C3s. This card was used clear through the C3s, if I remember right. The same date and everything on it. Here's original versus a reproduction. Fairly close. Lettering's a little different, but not too far off. The envelope. And if you had the K19, the air injection pump on your car, this book supposedly come out late in '66. I believe it is listed in the '66 judging manual as being associated as part of the glove box content. But as late as it come out in '66, I'm not sure it was put in a lot of '66s, but I'm sure it was available in '67 when they started. Myself, I had a '66 Chevelle that come from California back in '69. I was the second owner of it. And if I remember right, it had the smog on it, and it had some kind of book with it, but I don't believe it was quite like this one. This was supposedly with just the K19 option. Kind of the inside of the book here, you can see some of the information. And in the LADH, you got a sheet This is an original sheet for an L88 for the choke, automatic choke hookup if you put it on there, I guess. This is probably a pretty rare piece, seeing as how there's only 20 68s made with the L88 engine. And I found this, they said this was a replacement plan booklet that got sent if the car still had warranty on it and you were the second owner. I'm not quite sure. This come from General Motors, from what I understand. If there are any comments on anything here so far, or can we expand on anything I said here in the 67?
Those
Yes,
replacement tags were made up by the zone office, sent to the dealer, and it was the dealer's responsibility to affix it to a booklet for the second owner. So if you bought a 67 from a used car dealer, you probably wouldn't get a replacement POP. Whereas if you bought the car from a Chevy dealer and he followed the procedure, they'd apply for a replacement POP for you. If the
Okay.
car was still under warranty.
Yeah.
yes, I have one question going back to the trim rings for the rally wheels.
Yes.
You made a comment that you thought they carry it all the way through C3s. Do you
Yes.
know how far into C3 they use that same printing from 66 or 60, 65, 66?
I know through at least 66 or through 76, I know guys got a real original 76 that's got that same date code on it. I'm not sure. I think it went clear through the 82.
Okay.
If I remember. Can anybody comment on that?
So if I see a 75 at an event that has that date code of 66, then that should be acceptable.
Yes. I don't think they ever changed that trim ring instruction sheet. I believe it, when that date on there, I believe it was clear through 82.
Thank you very much.
Can anybody got any comments on that one way or the other? But I'm pretty sure that went clear through 82.
Mike, I had a few chat comments. One was on the bolts and wrench for the hard top of the 66, and then I would imagine on the 67 as well. Those would be in the glove box, correct?
Yes, I just went more on the paperwork. I didn't get into the wrenches or the
Screwdriver for the 67 aluminum bolt-ons. Yep. Okay.
the screwdriver or the license plate frames and attaching screws on that. I know them come in the cars too, but
Okay.
I just focused more on the paperwork this time.
And then there was a comment where you mentioned the for 67s, early 67s had the temporary POP without the booklet. The later ones it was attached. So a few people made a comment. One person has a car number 183 with the POP attached, and then somebody else has a car 3245 with it separate.
Okay.
And somebody else commented it may have been attached by the dealer. So I'm not sure if the timing on that is very clear.
Anybody else got any comments or anything to add?
On one other question, the plastic bag that has the key on it, is that the exact same bag as that used in 66 for 67?
Yeah, 66, 67, and 68 all used the same bag. They didn't change that till 69 when they changed to the oval and the rectangular key.
Hey, Mike, it's
On
Tom.
the
Go ahead, Mike.
Go ahead.
This is Tom.
Hi,
Damon. Sorry. I just wanted to point out, I believe we're talking about a temporary plate in early 67, and then something different called a used, a resale POP. One of our Michigan chapter members has a protective plate that was made for him when he bought his car used, still had warranty.
Yeah, this particular one here is supposedly, if you bought it used from a dealer and it still had warranty, you supposedly got this from the division plant or the division office.
Well, I have a GM memo that said that they did not have the protective plate booklets, and so they were putting out the cars from the factory with the temporary protective plates printed, but no booklet to put them in. And when the booklet came, they were given to the dealers, and the dealers were supposed to attach the protective plate.
Yes, I've read that too. I don't know how long they didn't have them. I don't think it was very long that they didn't have the booklets, but yeah, I've heard that too. I read that somewhere in my research.
And Mike, there was another question on POPs in terms of their actual use. Does anybody have any firsthand knowledge if the dealerships required those to be presented when they brought their cars in, or did they feel that they were a hassle and they weren't really actually used that often?
From what I understand, you needed them to get that's how they imprinted the paperwork they had to send into the factory or send into the office. And you had to have that to get your warranty work done, from what I understand.
I have some receipts, warranty receipts from my 67 that have the protective plate embossed or impressed on top of the sheet so that it goes with the invoice.
Yeah, that's what I understand. That's about the only way you could get warranty works if you had that protective plate with the car, correct?
That's correct. In order for the dealer to be paid, reimbursed for warranty work, that imprint had to be on the work order. There were several copies of the work order and they were all different colors, and I forget which color went to the zone to get reimbursed. They had a machine, like if you remember credit cards in the early days, you go in and purchase something and they ran the invoice through this little machine. They swiped it and it had your credit card in it, not left the imprint. The GM dealers had a machine similar to that to imprint the POP on the work order. Otherwise, they wouldn't get paid.
Okay. And if you lost the POP, then you had to go back to the regional officer, go back to the dealer, and they had to go back to the regional place and have a replacement sent to you, right?
Yeah, the zone offices had a machine to make POPs or put the information on it. They are different though from the originals.
Is the information kind of in the same spot as it was for that year, or did they kind
Yeah, I
of move
believe
it
so, but they didn't put the dymo tape on them.
Okay. They imprinted your name on it right from the zone office rather than the tape then.
I think a lot of those replacements don't have names on them.
They don't have names on them at
They
all?
just have the pertinent information, like the number information.
Okay.
The most pertinent piece is the VIN number.
Anything else?
Mike, you had mentioned that you had a protective plate presentation. I would love to see that sometime too.
Okay. I don't remember maybe I just did it for the Indiana chapter. I don't remember, but I've got one put together. Actually, I sent it to Gary Bosselman and he's reworking it right now. And I think he's going to do something with it later on. So if you might might keep an eye out. He may have something on the internet about that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I have one for my car, and I've always questioned, is it the original or not? It does not have the tape on it for the original owner, but everything seems to be right on the card otherwise.
That may have been a replacement then from what we're hearing then from this own office. Anything else?
Hey, Mike, just
Yes.
follow on the trim ring.
Let me add that in for the 64,
Yeah.
I was just going to add that 64 with J56 brake, also with induction cards in the gloves, also came in a box.
Okay. We had another question or another comment. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I followed up on the 60 or on the trim ring.
Yes.
Card that's put in the glove box. My 72 that I was third owner on, don't have the 92366, and I'm pretty sure that's the original trim ring card that was in the 72. So
yeah,
just a point of reference.
I've seen a one owner 79 that had the 66 label on it too. So I'm pretty sure it went clear through 82. I'll do some more checking in next program or the program next month. I'll make sure and let you know for sure if you're signed up for that one. Anything else? Hope we got nothing else. Thanks everybody for joining in. I hope maybe I got give you something a little bit to think about, and hope you enjoyed it, and let me know if you want me to keep doing these, I guess. Thank you.
Great job, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. Good job.
Thanks. Great job, Mike.